Okay, I want to do a real short video here. I've got another video that I'm going to upload, but it's going to take hours because it's a little over 20 minutes long. Yeah, it's going to take 10 so hours probably. Probably won't get uploaded till late tonight. That's what they're doing to you guys. If you guys can even hear it, they might even clip the channel days ago and are just letting themselves hear it now because the info is so profound. But I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of people of African American descendancy riding by, looking directly up in the window where I sit here in this house, very intently. I mean, really looking for me, looking to see me. Multiple people, and of course it's been all kinds of people who've been doing it for months now, but I sit there and look right back at them. I'm here. And, I'm working for everybody's benefit, Oddly enough, maybe not my own, in the way that you guys all think, but, I let the Father work for the benefit of me, It's His plan. It's all unfolded to bring us all together to this point thus far, right? And obviously I know a lot more than I've had the ability to talk about through this telephone. So, the things that I know, everybody needs. And of course, if you're trying to figure out the highest level of the next level of the new harmonious spiritual sciences that go with the formation of a new creation, unfortunately, after they stumble and fall over this one again, you might need some of the things that I've been given. But not that they're going to be given to anybody that has any sort of connection to any club, any cancer, any racial doctrines. No, we're going to be sharing this with the people, with everybody, to bring everybody up to the same standard of care and love for one another. And then the spiritual science isn't so secretive any longer. It's for everyone. It's not to keep anyone down. It's free for all. It makes all free. In the name of Jesus Christ. I want to maybe let y'all guys in on a mystery that hopefully that you can have completely dissolved. Some of the mysteries with some of the things I've shown you thus far and how it matches up against some of the ideologies that you've been given. One would be this circle with a dot in the center. And remember I told you that they believe that they're staying centered by positioning themselves between a rock and a hard place. Now his shirt is number 11, and then of course you got to know the 11 is the mirror, which represents the two towers, which he thinks he's one of. But in all actuality, both of them have been projected here. So then there comes the mirror, which I said represents 11 times anything of itself is 33. So 11 times this dude is 33, not this dude, as I've said before. Okay? So the rock in the hard place, he's at the center. Alright, well, this is where he thinks he's at. If you got a merry-go-round and you were to put a cup of water towards the outside and spin it, towards the outside, the water in the cup, without the proper guidance, would be thrown by the centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. Now, if you were to put that same cup of water at the center of the merry-go-round and then spin it, well, what happens to the water? Well, in the merry-go-round, the water stays fine. Doesn't necessarily tip right over. A little bit might spill out. But in their thinking, that's how they're thinking they're going to create this protection, because they're spinning everybody round and round on this merry-go-round. That the Mary, in essence, is this sacred feminine to everybody else, hidden behind the Virgin Mary, which is none other than, once again, another symbolic overlay of Ishtar, Isis, Athena, the whole thing. So, they, like you see here, wants to think that he's at the center. And this will be the central location, but there's a problem with this. This is the Eye of Draconis. This makes this the connection to the dragon, in which when you connect this back to a lot of ancient history that They're not showing you guys major destruction ensues, which would then fulfill Apollyon the Destroyer, as I said, connected to Enki, the Broadway, New York City, 40th parallel. Enki's number 5 times 8 is 40. 8 is what? That would be Eater, and that's, of course, who's offering that meat. You know? Because the Eater, original Eater, ate something before he's offered it to you. And, of course, it's the way that he gets his meat that you guys, in essence, labor for. Right? In so many ways. So this will be the Eye of Draconis, and we know that this is connected now to precession, and that it takes 72 years to make 1 degree of precessional progression along the ecliptic. Okay? So the 72 would be the 72 vessel virgins scenario, as we've already talked about. So that links back up to the bride. But as we see, who's really getting in the bride hasn't really got anything to do with actual females themselves. It's men that are playing the part of a lady, dudes that look like a lady. That's the majority that get in, because as you know, the majority of them aren't batting. They're switch hitters, if you know what that means. You know what I mean? They're switch hitters. They like another of the same because they want to increase powers, if you will. They've been making you think you got the power. In reality, it's them. It's at least what they think. So there's their version of staying centered. And then let me show you what they're doing to us to throw us all off. And that's the spinning us round in this merry-go-round. Round and round, what goes around comes around. Rah, 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 party time. Great, great, great. Grow your hair long, put on some eyeliner, rock and roll concert, start a few drug habits, and everything's going to work out because they got the spirit. Right? Everything's going to work out because they got the spirit. It's a big party, and spirit just grants them just a hell of a time, 24/7, right? Well, for my father, it's different. He knows that these guys are controlling the world, and that they are putting us all in this merry-go-round, and this is where they're trying to keep us all right here, on the outskirts, right? So he tells me to stay centered in this situation, that as long as I stay centered on his foundation and his truth, which is that sharp two-edged sword in relationship to the truth of the 2 commands, love your neighbor as yourself, love the Father with all the might, right? Anything outside of that is already smitten by that truth, and then suffers the repercussions within the friction of this world in which he's designed. But of course you can escape that friction much faster if you apply yourself and you commit yourself to a much more finer reflection of his truth in your life as you can live it. So let's think about the penny on the coat hanger. The penny on the coat hanger. And this is where I told you that the world has these forces that are trying to impress themselves on you. Now this represents them, the God of forces, who is pushing us in this centrifugal forces here, if you will, trying to make us all fall down, lose our orientation, right? Sending us in these cycles, these stagnant cycles, in which they come in every so often and take a bite out of their own crime, right? Well, think about the coat hanger with the hook, and then of course these guys being the instigators of the hook, as you know, and trying to make us all, in essence, the worms on their baited hooks to bring about this Leviathan, to bring about this age of this chaos and this serpent of chaos, this rule of chaos, right? So they're putting us all on the hook out here. You know what I mean? But remember the penny with the coat hanger. And this is me staying centered. Notice that I'm not at the center here. I'm not at the Draconis eye. I'm perfectly centered on this outskirts here. And the penny on the coat hanger will show it to you. That 1 penny of spiritual sense. In association with Abraham, my middle name is Ham Milton. Kurt Hamilton Richards. Sure is. Now let's think about the original covenant with Abraham. Jesus continually says, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I mean? Think about that, because he is. He's the universal God overall, regardless of whether you reject him or not, because they look to doctrines of descendancies so fervently. Jesus Christ almost always spoke to them in the essence of the truth of it, in which he was the representation of the Father and God overall. He was the representation of the God, the universal God, the Father over all. That living word of the Father in paradise, loving and compassionate to all. So, as we've seen, the Father has given us the ability, in even their chaotic swirl of spinning us around, hoping to make us fall down, trying to disorientate us, causing us to be in this chaos, like you saw in that ring with the cane thing over at the hurricane video that I uploaded with the ring and the Shin ring, she in the ring, right? Boom. The pupils of darkness in connection with the iris, right? The occultic muscle that control the flow of light to the pupils, right? So here I am staying centered. They're trying to spin me upside down, and then that penny's going to show you that I know the physics. I know the real order of this world, not them. Not them. Because when the world truly flips upside down, you take their merry-go-round with their little cup of water in the center, and it all tumbled down. Real physics. Real physics. But you saw me flip up the merry-go-round upside down with me on the outside, where they try to bring me down. And because I'm centered on that truth of Jesus Christ, the original covenant of true love, not lust, bringing out the luster, I'm going to be all right. Anybody else is too, that can understand that truth and start having faith in it. Start having faith in a real loving God, not a God of doubles and dead and necropolises and gates to it and keys that you have to walk through them. The only keys you got to have to walk through the kingdom gates, the only keys you have to have is love for your neighbor as yourself, and love for the Father with all your might. I'll be back.